Okay, good day, guys. Good day to you all. Welcome back to the Formula Sports channel. Thanks for being here. And a big shout out to all those who always support. We do greatly appreciate it. And a gentle reminder to please like the video and subscribe to the channel, as these are free ways to support the channel. Now, with that being said, I want to talk a little bit about this this proposed European Super League. Guys, this thing could have a massive impact, right? A massive impact on World Cup qualifying, on Concacaf World Cup qualifying. The powers that be who are pushing this league, they want it to start by August of this year, guys. And we all know that FIFA has said that players who play in this proposed European Super League will be banned from FIFA competition, right? And we all know that World Cup qualifying is our World Cup qualifying for Jamaica, and the final round of qualifiers for Concacaf begins in September. So I want to talk a little bit about how this could seriously impact Concacaf World Cup qualification, right, for us and even for some of our main competitors. Right now, as things stand, Jamaica aren't currently impacted by this thing. But the fact of the matter is that the summer transfer window is coming up, and we have players that could be making big moves. You know, Ivan Toney is one that comes to mind right now. Arsenal are front runners for him. Also, we have to bear in mind that the European Super League is still recruiting teams. From what we hear, the European Super League wants to approach Bayer Leverkusen, right? And we all know Leon Bailey is playing for Bayer Leverkusen at the moment. I'm a little bit surprised as well that West Ham are currently not in the European Super League. And of course, you know, Mikel Antonio is playing for West Ham. Because the fact of the matter is, West Ham is one of the biggest clubs in England, especially regarding their fan base, which is very global. So it is not currently affecting us at the moment, but it could affect us for the World Cup qualification coming up, right? If Tony goes to Arsenal, if West Ham join on board, because as I say, the Super League is still recruiting teams from the looks of it, right? Leon Bailey could be involved in it as well with Leverkusen, and Leon Bailey himself could be making it is very possible Bailey could be making a big move this summer as well. So it could affect us for the CONCACAF World Cup qualification coming up in September if this thing does indeed start in August. And obviously it could affect us long term as well. You know, a player like, for instance, Kiddo Taylor Hart, we are very interested in him. He's currently an Arsenal youth player. Who's to tell if he makes it into the Arsenal first team? He's already training with them, right? But this thing could all, you know, the funny thing about this thing is that while it could potentially have an impact on us and our ability to pick our strongest team, it would really and truly be a devastating blow to the US, right? The team that I think is our major competitor, certainly the biggest team right now in CONCACAF in my estimation is the US. And this could seriously have a massive impact on the US. The American team could be obliterated by this thing if this thing gets going in August. This Super League gets going in August, right? World Cup qualification for CONCACAF starts in September. The US could be without a number of their main key players. I mean, we're talking about Pulisic for Chelsea. We're talking about Mckennie for Juventus. Steffans, Manchester City. Right? As I said, the European Super League is still recruiting teams. I don't know if they have approached Leipzig as yet. Who's to tell if they do approach Leipzig? It could be very, very possible. Right? And if that happens, obviously, Tyler Adams is out the picture. I'm not so sure. I'm hearing that they approached Dortmund and Munich, and both Dortmund and Munich turned down the offers. But if this is so, who's to tell if when the money start flows, Dortmund and Munich don't change their minds? Who's to tell? I mean, there's a lot of politics at play here, and especially with German football, it is constructed a little bit different in terms of ownership of football clubs. But who's to tell if Munich and Dortmund don't hop on board as well? Right, they were looking at Richards, who is signed for Munich and on loan at Hoffenheim, and we're looking at Reina being out of the picture for them as well. Right? Lille, one of the biggest clubs in France. PSG has turned down the Super League. Who's to tell if the Super League doesn't look to other teams in France, other clubs in France? Lille has traditionally been one of the biggest clubs in France and is one of the biggest clubs in France right now. Obviously, with where they are currently in the league standing. Timothy Weah, an important player for the US as well, plays for Lille. Right, so definitely the Americans, if this thing kickstarts in August, the Americans will definitely be weakened. And if teams like Lille, Bayern, Dortmund hop on board, a lot of big clubs are being squeezed out as well. A lot of big clubs, if you notice, a lot of big clubs are being squeezed out of this thing as well. And from how things are looking, the European Super League wants to expand. What if clubs like Valencia, Valencia is one of the biggest clubs in France, probably not now, but traditionally speaking, as a matter of fact, they have if I'm not mistaken, they have the third largest global support out of any club in Spain, only behind Barcelona and Real Madrid. Musa plays for Valencia. Right, so America has a lot of problems on its hands right now. Aronson is a player who is playing for Salzburg. Big clubs interested in him as well. So by the time, it is possible that he could make a move in the summer as well. So especially with his American nationality, big clubs are always inclined to take a risk with the American players because of the size of the American market. So right now, America is seriously impacted and could even be even more seriously impacted by the time summer comes around, or by the time this Super League starts up. In the future, Josh Sargent is a big hope for the US as well. Good player. He could make a move to a big club as well. It's entirely possible. But right now, off the bat, America are right now. Steffans, if this thing starts in August, right? If this European League starts in August, Steffans is out the picture. Mckennie is out the picture. Pulisic is out the picture. Immediately. Right? Mckennie is out the picture. Those are four of their key starters. Right? Richards, Musa, and Reina could also be out of the picture the way how things are shaping up. It would seriously weaken America's chances. As a matter of fact, it would decimate America's chances. I still think they would squeeze in, but they definitely won't be the big or the top dog in Concacaf anymore. So even though it affects us, guys, it affects us, or it hasn't really affected us just yet, but it could possibly affect us. But right off the bat, if this thing gets going in August, it seriously affects the US right off the bat. Mexico is a team as well that could seriously be impacted, right? Napoli's Irving Chucky Lozano, even though Napoli is not currently in this thing, the Super League is looking to expand. Napoli is one of the biggest clubs in Italy, and who's to tell how their qualification system will work? Napoli could very well find themselves in this thing with and obviously Irving Lozano. Hector Herrera is an Atletico Madrid player. He will definitely be out if this thing starts in August. Porto, one of the biggest clubs and one of the most high-profile clubs in the world and one of the most successful clubs in Europe. FC Porto with Jesus Corona could well find themselves in this thing. They could very, very much find themselves in this European Super League. Ajax, Edson Alvarez. Right? Ajax is one of the biggest clubs in the world. Along with Porto. Definitely both are the biggest clubs out of their respective countries. Ajax being one of the most successful clubs in Europe. One of the biggest clubs, a European powerhouse. They could very much find themselves in this thing as well. Edson Alvarez is a Mexican player who plays for Ajax. Eric Gutierrez from PSV. PSV is also a very big club. They could find themselves in this thing as well. Where if this thing expands, if this European league, Super League thing expands, it could very well expand between now and August. And if it expands, teams like Porto and Ajax will obviously be in line. Whether they accept or accept to go on board, I don't know. But obviously the league will seriously be looking at if they are expanding, they will seriously be looking at Porto and Ajax. Genk as well is one of the biggest clubs in Belgium. Gerardo, a Mexican, plays for them as well. So even Mexico right now in the moment only has one player that will be affected by this, and that's Herrera. But they could have a couple if this thing does expand. Napoli again is one of the biggest clubs in Italy, and this thing so far has squeezed out some of the biggest clubs in the world. Who's to tell if they are knocking on the door wanting to come in because of all the money that is being made? Right? Even Napoli's owner, if I'm not mistaken, the biggest asset in his portfolio is Napoli. Napoli basically made him uber rich. Right? Uber wealthy. It's by far the biggest asset in his portfolio. So he would definitely want to make some more money. Will he jump on board? Is he a footballing purist who will not want to be a part of this, greed motivated Super League? So right now, Jamaica not affected, but could be affected by the time this European Super League gets off the ground. Mexico, they have one player that is affected that would be ruled out, and that's Herrera. But they could be affected even much more by the time this thing comes around. America is definitely affected. Definitely, if this thing starts in August, America's World Cup qualification will be thrown into turmoil. Right? They would be in serious trouble, and especially if it expands to include teams like Valencia and Lille, which is entirely possible. If teams like Dortmund decide to hop on board, Munich decide to hop on board, they could be in C. Almost their entire starting lineup would be literally would be ineligible to play for them. right? And there are other teams in Concacaf who will slightly be affected as well, but we, Jamaica, Mexico, and the US are the three top dogs. And one of them will be seriously impacted. We could be realistically impacted, and Mexico slightly impacted, but could realistically be even more impacted. But as things stand right now, Jamaica is the top dog in Concacaf. If this European Super League does indeed kickstart Jamaica in August, if it kickstarts in August, Jamaica could be the top dog for Concacaf World Cup qualification. And even if we players like Tony and Antonio and Leon Bailey won't be eligible to play for us, depending on how badly Mexico could potentially be impacted by it, we could be the top dog in CONCACAF. If Mexico, depending on how Mexico is affected by this thing, by this European Super League. Right? But America right now, I'm sure America right now have their heads in their hand, because right now things are not looking good for them. Right? So again, we could be impacted. Right now, the most realistic way we could be impacted is Tony, Antonio, and Bailey. If Leverkusen join the Super League, or if Bailey makes a big move, if Tony moves to Arsenal, or if West Ham signs up in the Super League. So, let's see how things work out. Regardless of whether the Super League gets off the ground, though, I still think we'll qualify for the World Cup. We will definitely still be top 2. When I'm looking at it now, we will definitely still be top 2. Even if the worst happens, we will definitely still be in top 2 if this Super League gets kickstarted in August and players are banned. We will still be top 2. Right? Probably even number 1, depending on how Mexico is affected. But right now, America in serious trouble, man. America right now, things not looking so good for them. So let's see how this thing works out. Let's see how it turns out. Let's see if this Super League goes ahead, and we'll be continuing to track its progress and how it affects Jamaica, and by extension, the rest of CONCACAF. Okay, guys, that's it. That's my 2 cents. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Please remember again to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And until next time.